Alright, just a quick note, if you were planning to send me a blaster and you haven't already, please check the list and make sure I haven't already acquired it. I have updated it with all of the blasters that I picked up at Goodwill this weekend when the crew and I did a Goodwill run, and all the blasters that I was given at our most recent war, because we have a lot of cool folks with a lot of weird blasters. So I do now have all of the Hyperfires, including the orange one that's already on the wall. I forgot that these were even a thing. Train. But I already had all 4 of them, I just had to dig through the bin. I now have the blue Night Finder, but not yet the Dart Tag's, Fire Strike. Yeah, don't have that one yet. I picked up the yellow version of the Supermax 3000. I already had the green one. I got 2 versions of the Big Bad Bow, I'm not sure which years. Both of the Transforming Blasters from 2007, I don't yet have the Optimus Prime blaster. I've got the Transforming one, but there was another single shot, really oversized single shot thing. I got the blue Rebel electronic whatever blaster, also the Imperial Officer blaster, and the Clone Trooper blaster, so I got both of those covered, which I think will finish out 2006. Picked up the Switch Fire, which is an old weird blaster that had multiple barrels that allowed you to fire all sorts of ammo. Somebody had that and brought it and gave it to me. And I've got some ballistic balls in package, which will look really cool on the wall. I've got some in package ammo up there as well. So yeah, that's what I've picked up so far. I know I've got a few more coming. Corporal Fusco is sending me a bunch. I do still need, high on the list is the 1991 bow. Somebody is sending me the 92 bow, but I still need the 91 bow. So yeah, if you happen to have that or see it or spot it, let me know. Cool. All right. Anything anybody sends me, if you've already sent it to me and it turns out it's here on the table, don't worry, I will find a use for it. I will probably put yours on the wall and then throw the ones that we found at Goodwill back into Loner, or Halloween tomorrow. I'm going to be throwing kind of a shindig here. Hopefully kids show up. If they do, they will be able to win blasters through either the Nerf basketball game that Sergeant Lance found for me at a Goodwill, or shooting darts at Captain Xavier, or some other various Nerf-based competitions. They will be able to win blasters or candy, because it's Halloween. So, kind of announcing to the public that this place exists and what it is, and that kids are welcome to come, and it'll be fun. And come spring, I will start hosting events, and it will be lovely. Probably either weekly or every other week or something. There'll be an event here at the Makerspace for just the local kids to come and play. So it will be a lot of fun. Thank you all so much for your support. Oh, and I picked up the Oregon State flag. So I still need Georgia, North Carolina, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Utah, Idaho, and Washington. And I might just go ahead and buy them myself because they're like $5 on Amazon. Train! Alright, now we're going to take a look at the tools that I have acquired. That will be, eventually, there'll be a full set at every workstation. I went on Amazon, and that's where I put together a shopping list of all of these tools, so that, one, if anyone wants to sponsor a table, they can just go to that list and order everything on the list, and then they're covered. Alternatively, people who are getting into modding can go take a look at that list and go, okay, here's the kinds of tools that I need to acquire. You might not necessarily go for those particular ones for whatever reason, but it'll give you an idea of all the tools that I consider necessary. I also have a whole video on that, but I looked at both the price. I wanted to go mid-range. I didn't go with the top most expensive sets, and I didn't go with the least expensive sets because you tend to get what you pay for. I went for ones that were kind of in the middle that had decent reviews, and then I looked at color, of course, because it's me, and I like things to match. So I did end up going with orange and black tools wherever possible, and it turned out that was everywhere. Turns out there is a brand that has orange and black that seems to be relatively reputable. If they prove to be terrible, well, that'll teach me. If any of you know of any of these brands being complete garbage, do let me know. I haven't fully stress tested them. I've given them a basic testing, and they haven't fallen apart out of the box yet, so, but we'll see. Okay, so what we have, we'll start with the most expensive item. I have acquired a Dremel. Incidentally, I have already acquired all of the soldering stations. That was the first thing I just went ahead and bought enough for one for each table. So don't need any more soldering stations. But the most expensive item here is the Dremel, and well, technically it's not a Dremel, it is a rotary tool. Dremel is a name brand. But I got this one because it had a whole bunch of features that I really specifically wanted. I wanted one that did have adjustable speed, so it's got on, off, and then adjustable speed. So I like that. It does have a hook to be able to hang it, which is useful because it does come with the long extendable neck, similar to the one that I have that hangs above my workbench. Though I don't have foot pedals for these ones, I may look into acquiring foot pedals like I have for that one. But this one, I didn't want to go with the hanging one because I wanted something a little bit more versatile, because I have both the hanging one for stuff that I need control of, and then I have this one, which will now be on my workstation as well. But having the gooseneck is really handy because it gives you a lot more fine control, and you're not holding this bulky thing. So people would be able to hang it and use that instead. And for that, I would probably go ahead and, like I said, try to find the foot pedals. It does also have a number of nifty features. It does have the router attachment so that you can only go a certain depth, which might be handy for all sorts of stuff. It also then does have the pistol grip, which I really like, because that gives you a lot more fine control for things. If you wanted to do like etching or stuff, having that makes it a lot easier to control it for some people. There is then also a blast shield if you're dremeling, say, metal and you don't want shards coming at you. So all of those attachments are the kind of things I was looking for in a kit. So this one had all of that, was also in the right color, wasn't too expensive. It did come with a full set of tools, though I will probably also get a larger set of tools, especially the grinding bits and so forth, for each of these tables as well. It did come with a limited warranty, which is nice. So there's the Dremel screwdriver set. Fairly straightforward. It has one really small one all the way up to larger than you're ever going to need for Nerf. But each of these stations will be used for things other than Nerf, so I wanted a well-rounded screwdriver set. These two work well for Nerf. This one is the right size for most Nerf blasters, which is nice. It's a number 1x4. The smaller one will work for things like the Strife, which has a much smaller screw holes for whatever reason. It will work on those, so that is handy. I also picked up an electric screwdriver because taking out screws is tedious, and it's nice to have a power tool to help you do it. So this one's also Tack Life, so it's got the same warranty. It's got forward, reverse. It's got a light. It's rechargeable and uses micro USB to recharge rather than a proprietary plug, which at first I was like, what on earth? Because it didn't come with a wall plug. It just had USB to regular USB, micro USB to like USB-C? No, A, B, whatever. A. Anyway, so I'll need to get the AC adapters, but that's easy enough to get, and I like that it's a more universal option. I then did get a set of long shanked screw bits for it, because the ones that it come with are way too short to reach into the screw ports on the screw holes on Nerf blasters. So I got ones that were a couple of inches long and a variety of Phillips heads. These are the three. 3 of the 5 are really the ones that you're going to end up using, and that's perfectly fine. These ones, again, will be useful for other applications, but for Nerf, there were 3 that were really the right sizes. So they will all fit into the screw port on screw holes on a Strife. This one will be more for internal stuff, but they are permanently magnetic, so that is nice. They do fit into the screwdriver, so that is lovely. I picked up Tack Life wire strippers. I was first introduced to this particular style by Out of Darts, and I will never use anything else. It makes stripping the wires so easy. Just put the wire in, stripped, done. Love it. Fantastic. It also does have cutters and crimpers and all sorts of other doodads that I use the cutters. I don't really use much of the other ones. I pretty much just use the strippers. And it's got some adjustable stuff and also a warranty. So that's lovely. File set. I live and breathe by files. And I've got all the way from the big ones if you want to take off an absurd amount of material at once, and then a whole bunch of really fine ones. You have a square one, a flat one, a round one, a triangular one, and then 2 wedges of different designs. You've got the big, flat, you have the rounded one for doing curves, and then you have an actual circular one, which is good for like boring out barrels and so forth. So, full set there. And finally, we have the pliers set. They're all spring-loaded, which is really, really nice. Long needle nose, which I use way more than you would expect. Regular clippers, side cutters, curved pliers, and needle nose pliers, and then flat, toothed pliers. Murder. So, yeah. One of the things that I also looked for when I was picking out what to get were the fact that the vast majority of these come in their own cases, which makes it really easy to store, as opposed to having, you know, a toolbox where everything gets thrown in, or pegboard that everything gets hung on, since the middle benches don't have pegboard. The ones on the walls could. I could have put pegboard up in between them, but I like the idea of being able to have one enormous table if necessary. And I really need to better level those tables. They're not. There's a couple that aren't quite skookum. It could be the floor too. Anyway, I like that they had containers so you could easily just zip it up and you know where your tools are, and you could tell what tools go where and which ones might be missing and all of that. So that was a key choice. This one unfortunately does not have any kind of a case, but I'll have to come up with something for storing those kinds of tools. Probably get a little toolbox. Anyway, yeah, those are the tools that I've got on my list. There are obviously lots of smaller ones. If you have any suggestions for things that you think, well, why doesn't he have one of these? A lot of things are probably just going to fall under the area of consumables. So things like wire, solder, glue, paint. That'll all just be incidentals that I'll acquire. Things like razor blades and you know, X-Acto knives and whatnot. Slowly but surely, I will acquire all of the various little tools and little things, you know, that are in fact necessary, but that weren't the key elements. These are also the more expensive ones. So, like I said, covered the Dremels already. This was the most expensive item on this list. Altogether, all of these came to, I think, $143 for this whole pile, which I think is very reasonable. I was actually expecting the tools to be, you know, closer to $500 per table. So the fact that it ended up being a lot less than that was really quite cool. So I know a couple of you did reach out to me about wanting to sponsor a table. If you are still interested, contact me again. Remind me who you were, and I can point you towards the list. I will make the list public and probably have it down in the description. So if anybody wants to buy a few items on there and send them, feel free. Let me know, just so I know what's coming. Obviously, I've got all of the glue guns covered, and I've got all of the Dremel, or all of the soldering irons covered, and these ones will probably become part of my work set, since I'd like a matching set as well. So there are still 8 sets out there. Probably Patreon money will be going towards these, so when I get the next wave of Patreon money, I will probably buy all of one of the tools. So I'll buy, you know, 8 screwdriver sets, or 8 plier sets, or 8 of the electric screwdriver or whatever, and then I'll just remove that. Well, actually, I wouldn't want to remove it from the list because I want the list to remain available for you guys. But I'll let you know which ones I've acquired. And obviously, having more tools, extra tools, is not going to be a bad thing. Having spare tools, or having extra tools if we end up having spillover and I set up extra tables and we need more tools, that's not a bad thing. But I'm going to be working towards getting the full set loadouts for each table, all 8 for each table, as soon as possible. Probably, if I don't get a wave of people wanting to sponsor tables, I will probably just splurge with my ad revenue next month and buy as much of it as I possibly can. So there you have it. Those are the tools I'm going to be going with. If anyone is interested in sponsoring a table, let me know. If not, I will, whatever. All right. Awesome. Thank you for watching. Toys. I got new toys.